Hello, and welcome back to the Spoiler Cast, the show where we talk about movies and we don't care about spoiling them. My name is Tobias, and with me, as always, is my sister and trusted co-host, Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello. And in today's episode, we're just going to get right into it. We're talking about warfare.
Yes. Finally, we're a little late.
We're a little late with our warfare review, our warfare discussion, our warfare analysis and breakdown.
Sure.
Because, I think we're going to talk more about what's going on around the movie than the actual movie.
Yeah. Because the actual movies, I mean, we'll talk about that too.
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
There's not a ton to talk about when it comes to the action movie. It's very simple, really.
Yes. It's very to the point.
Yes.
So let's just get the review of the movie over with. What did you think? What did you think of Warfare?
5 out of 5. Fantastic. I loved it. I was so immersed, shocked. I felt almost shell-shocked when they got shell-shocked. I had a headache afterward. I've never been so immersed in a movie, I think, ever. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Honestly, 5 out of 5. I have no complaints.
Can't believe I'm on a podcast with an imperialist, right-wing fanatic, warmongering piece of shit.
Okay, we'll get to that later. So what did you think of it?
I loved it.
Exactly.
It's not a 5 out of 5 for me. I don't think a movie like this can achieve a 5 out of 5 when it comes to movie.
No, but you know how I do my 5 out of 5.
Absolutely. You review the experience.
Yes. Partially.
Yeah. And I do too. I just this wasn't on the same level as, like, speaking of Alex Garland's Civil War last year, which was a 4.5, almost 5 for me.
This, to me, it was.
Okay.
Like, the experience and the everything was just, it had the same feeling. It gave me the same feeling. That's how I should say it, I think.
All right.
Yeah. So, review done.
Yeah.
No, there's more to talk about, obviously.
For anyone who doesn't know, it's an almost like a real-time story about a mission that goes wrong.
Yep.
And instead of them just surveying an area, they have to be evacuated, exfiltrated, casual evacuation. Casualty evacuation, sorry. Not a casual evacuation. It's anything but a casual evacuation. Yeah. Like this it is. Yeah, a platoon of American Navy SEALs on a surveillance mission gone wrong in insurgent territory. A boots-on-the-ground story of modern warfare and brotherhood, told in real time and based on the memory of the people who lived it.
Yeah.
I think, because, honestly... No, we'll get to that. So, yeah. The movie is, first and foremost, they made a whole big thing about it being directed by one of the guys who was in that situation. It's directed and written by Ray Mendoza.
Yes.
But he shares both writing and directing credit with Alex Garland, because this guy he's not a director. He's a soldier or a former soldier.
He probably just told his story and Alex wrote it down to make it make sense in a movie.
Yeah, and he
add all the, key bits on how you move and shit.
Yeah, exactly. He did all the technical directing, while Alex Garland probably added some, well, we gotta make it a movie, Ray. So
yeah, like there's one camera move that goes with them when they go back into the house, which was really cinematic. It was really good.
Yeah.
Stuff
so
like
that's why they have decided to work together, but it's really Ray Mendoza's movie because it's his story being told.
Sure, yeah.
And yeah, other than an opening scene when they're all watching Eric Prydz Call on Me music video, which is very funny.
Yeah.
And then the night before the mission begins, sort of, when they take the house that they're going to use as a base. Other than those two parts, it is there are no like cuts, so to speak, in time. There are no time jumps.
Exactly. It's the day after, and that's the whole day. That's all we're watching.
Yeah.
And we see it basically minute by minute.
Yeah.
What does Avatar The Last Airbender, Dungeons and Dragons, horrifying monsters, and a group of weirdos all have?
And it's very interesting, which makes it, when the shit hits the fan, it becomes
Literally.
very, very intense. Even before that, it's very intense. It reminded me of, have you seen American Sniper? The Bradley Cooper, Clint Eastwood movie?
Yeah, I think I saw that in theaters, actually.
Oh, me too, yeah. It was,
That's the one with the fake-ass doll, right?
Yeah, his baby that he has in the end. Yeah, yeah. That one. There is the scene. It's one that was, they almost used the entire scene as a trailer. It's when they're on a roof. Him and his spotter.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, are they see, they're surveying just like they do in this movie.
Yeah.
And they spot someone, I think it's a kid running, and he has something in his hands.
Yeah.
And he starts running towards the convoy that they're protecting, and his job is then to kill this child
because he poses a threat.
Yeah, to protect the convoy, and his spotter is like, "Come on, man, take the shot. You got the shot. Take the shot." And then he doesn't, because the kid was just holding his mom's phone. Was giving his mom the phone back. So, fuck me. That
it was that scene, but for
like 20
an hour.
minutes. Yeah. No, I mean before the attack starts.
Oh yeah,
like
that's
20 minutes and half an hour.
Yeah.
As they're just, it's supposed to be like boring, but you can feel the tensions with certain characters than other. I think.
Sure.
But you can definitely feel the tension that it's a routine mission. They've done this before, but also because something's gonna happen. You can feel that something's off. Especially when they start spawning more and more people. Like, I've seen this guy before. He keeps walking back and forth. Stuff
even
like
if
that.
it's a routine mission, I mean, they're still in enemy territory. It's still a mission. They can't just relax, which I feel like the other group kind of did. We'll get to that.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, I think.
Sure.
But then shit hits the fan, and they immediately we have to get out of here.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happens then. Them trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
That's the whole movie.
That's the movie.
And there's no introductions of any character. We barely get any names.
We get a few names.
Yeah. I know that the
Sam and Elliot.
Yeah, Sam Elliot. But I can't. Was Elliot the first sniper guy who did the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Played by I keep mixing them up for some reason. Cosmo Jarvis.
Cosmo Jarvis. Yeah, exactly.
And Sam was the other guy.
That was Joseph
got injured.
Quinn. Yeah.
Joseph Quinn. Yeah.
He was alone in another room. It felt like he was kind of off, but I guess he wasn't. I don't know.
Was a little bit off. He was a little bit aggro.
And then they don't call him Ray. I think they call him Dozer once, but Ray Mendoza is the young kid who is
someone calls him
kind of
Ray.
the main character, but not really. There's not really a main character.
No.
Which I really liked.
Yes.
I like the fact that you could kind of every character, there are some characters get less screen time, definitely.
Sure.
Especially since you have another company coming in after them. But even in the first group, there's one guy who you barely see him until they're about to leave, and then he has to take over the radio from Ray, and I was like, oh, that guy.
there is one guy that I didn't clock the actor, but I know he's in the movie, and I saw his name in the credits.
Who?
Noah Centineo is in this, and I didn't see his face.
Centineo, yeah.
I know he's in it because I've seen promotional interviews and stuff. But when he's in the because they picked the most famous actors to go do the interviews.
Yeah.
6 or 7 of them or something.
Yeah.
And he's one of them because he's a recognizable face.
He's
even though he has a really small role, I think.
Yeah, he's part of the second
same
company.
with Charles Melton. He's also like kind of recognizable. He gets more screen time towards the end because
That's who he is.
the,
Now I just realized who Charles Melton is.
He's the commander in the second.
Yeah. Now he's the husband in May September. May December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For example.
Oh my God, that's why I was like, damn, that guy's good. What do I know him from?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Okay.
he doesn't show up until like the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
He commands the scene when he does, but it's because he's the commander.
Yeah. Do we want to? I mean, there's not much to spoil, but do we want to give a spoiler warning?
A little bit, I guess, because you see some of it in the trailer, but just if you want to experience the movie fully, obviously don't listen to anyone telling everything. It's nice to be a little bit surprised, but it's also I don't think we're gonna like ruin.
You can't really ruin the movie by spoiling, But if you don't want any spoilers from here on out, because I want to mention, the big thing,
a little details,
yeah.
And if you don't want the details spoiled, pause, go look at it, come back,
go watch the movie. Definitely, I think we both recommend the movie.
Watch the movie. Oh yes.
So
almost anyone, unless you're a little bit squeamish, I guess.
Yeah. So spoilers, you have been warned.
Yes.
Now, when the IED goes off and kills like 2 people immediately, I don't know the names of the translators, but they die immediately. They're the ones who are just torn into pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. But one of them survives, no? And he just disappears.
Not one of them. No, there's 2 bodies on the street.
Oh. I just saw one half body and then...
You see 2 halves, but I'm pretty sure both are upper halves, I think.
Oh.
Either way.
They're not in the movie after that, so I mean...
No. So that's really when it goes bad. Like, people are already kind of shook. Especially the Elliot and whoever else was in the room where they had a sniper rifle. Because they got like a concussion grenade thrown into the room. Because if that was a regular frag grenade, they would have been dead. At least the guy was right next to it. It must have been a concussion.
In the like actual explosion, but they were really shook by it. So yeah,
it must have been a concussion grenade.
That was I think it was Sam, Elliot, and what was his name? The guy didn't really speak after that.
Yeah.
No, it was Tommy, Elliot, and
Tom.
Someone.
No. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hey, it was Frank.
Frank, right.
Taylor John Smith. Frank. I'm pretty sure it was him. Yeah, because he was all like, oh, after that.
Yeah, he was really messed up after that.
Yeah. So they're definitely like
Frank.
riled up already. But then as they try to get out and the IED goes off, kills the translators, rips the legs of Elliot and Sam.
Yeah.
It's Will Poulter's character Eric, who is kind of the commander for that group.
He is the commander of that troop.
He is like he keeps his composure
cool.
pretty well. Well. But the longer it goes, and especially when the second team comes over, he just like falls apart. I mean, there's a scene where he sits on the bed with the civilians, and he's just, I'm all fucked up, man. And I don't think
he asks.
He's not hurt in any way. It's just like he can't. He's snapped.
Yeah, I mean, he does say that from the first explosion when they like detonated their own stuff, he got shell shocked. He said it himself. He's like, "Ah, shit, I got all shook by this."
Yeah.
And then they just keep having, explosions and fire and all that stuff, and he's just slowly breaking down, basically. But he keeps his composure for as long as he has to, literally.
Yeah, and then he just falls apart.
Then he just like hands it over. Someone else take over. Thank you.
Same thing with Ray. There's times like, over and over again you see him just stop moving, like he's just becomes completely catatonic.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, are you gonna fucking do something? He's like, oh, right. Which was the one thing that you could definitely tell that this was, like, based on a real story, and they're not trying to, like, make it more palatable as a movie. Because then you would have one of those scenes, and then he would be like, oh, okay, I'm good. Here it happens, like, 4 times.
Yeah.
And it's
Which
just like...
feels more realistic.
It feels more realistic, yeah. But it's like... If it was a movie, it's like, yeah, we know he's shook up, but he's better now. Like, no, but he's not, because in real life, you're not.
Exactly. I really like that.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't get the tourniquet thing because he was shaking from like. Like, it wasn't difficult. He just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Little details like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the second team comes in, and they're much more like
Composed?
Composed, more gung ho.
They're like cocky almost.
Yeah, but that's because they weren't. First of all, they weren't ambushed. They didn't suffer like, first of all, casualties in an explosion. And they're running on pure adrenaline because they've been fighting through the streets to get over to that house instead. So it makes total sense that they're more like,
And I liked it. I liked the contrast.
Oh yeah, I liked it too. Yeah.
And the details they had there with, I think it was one guy specifically, but maybe two guys who kept like accidentally hitting Sam's or Elliot's
Sam's
legs.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
My guy, be more careful. You expect Navy SEALs to be a little bit more aware of their surroundings.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, they're all hopped up on adrenaline and like kind of really want to get out of there. So they're just like, just go, let's just do it.
And then there's also this thing that you obviously see that they're all like kind of, not so much in this movie, but in movies in general, and in this, you can kind of see that they have like, they're different personalities, but they all have similar character traits. Because I think you need to be a certain kind of person to actually volunteer to go into war.
Of course. You need to have a certain trait to be able to actually want to do this.
Yeah. Like the guy who doesn't give a fuck keeps hitting Sam in the leg. Like, he's like, oh, hell yeah, you know. Which is a little scary, but it's also...
bad guys.
But unfortunately, those are also the guys that get things done.
Sure. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. There's
the guy who like kept pepping Sam. Like, yeah, you got this, Frogman. You got this, dude. You're a SEAL.
Yeah.
Like, and Ray just kept going like, dude, shut up. He does not need this now. Yeah. This is not the time. I understood what he was trying to do, but unless you know the person, that might not work.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly.
It would never work on me. I would just shut down and go, fuck this.
Oh, yeah.
I'll walk away. I cannot take it when people like try to pep me up like that. Fuck you.
No. That's also like I've never had like watching like war movies. Never had the like, hell yeah, man, I wanna. For me, war movies have always dissuaded me from like
deterred
me from ever warfare. Being some sort of soldier or warfare. I can understand the reasons why people do it, definitely.
Sure.
And I sympathize with that. But it's never been like, oh man, I just watched fucking, I don't know, some war movie now. I'm gonna enlist. Like, no.
I've had that like maybe once or twice, and I actually tried to enlist to do lumpen here in Sweden.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, no, but I don't want to shoot guns. So I put that in, and they're like, yeah, we don't want
then
you.
Then what's the point? Yeah, exactly. But I think...
every time I see like spy movies, I get a little bit, shit, if you were like trained like a soldier, you could be a spy. That would be really cool. But that's not warfare. That's different.
Yeah.
You don't get to see it like this.
I gotta say,
because we need to mention that.
Huh?
I think you said it before, that someone had said that warfare glorified war.
We'll get to that. We'll wrap up the discussion about the movie, and we'll get to that part. Yeah. But I wanted to say, like, I don't think any other movie has been as effective in deterring me from wanting to go to war. Like, this was perfect.
This was terrifying.
Not anti-war propaganda, or I don't want to say propaganda, but anti-war. More like anti-warfare. Because it's so, and that's why the name is so fitting for the movie. Because it's not a movie about a war.
No.
It's not a movie about. I mean, it's about the soldiers, but what it is about is the minutia of warfare.
Yeah.
The actual act of warfare.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Also, then to kind of wrap this up, also why I think a lot of people don't fucking get it. Because just like with Civil War, this has got incredibly polarizing reviews.
Of course.
It's
about American soldiers in Iraq. Well, of course it is.
Yeah, exactly. It has when it comes to real critics, I guess we aren't real critics, but you know what I mean. The Metascore is a 78, which is pretty good.
Yes.
Do you have Civil War up? Do you know what Civil War has? No,
On. I have it on both.
Critic. Oh. It has a 75. Oh, okay. I'm looking at Metascore here. So.
Yeah, it's got a 7.7 for like regular folks or whoever.
You're looking at user reviews on IMDb. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, it's got 2 100s on Metascore.
Yeah.
Bunch of like 70s and 80s.
And no bad reviews, I don't think. Or red reviews, so to speak. Oh, there, I clicked the wrong thing. Yeah, no, yeah, it has 35 positive reviews and 8 mixed. Yeah, the Telegraph says, part of the genius of Warfare's ending is that it admits that war rarely, if ever, contains endings at all. That's also something, there's no resolution here. I mean, we see the guys get away, but, like, nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is a few
They're not physically there anymore.
Yeah, a few people are dead. Those poor civilians' houses ruined, and as the movie, like as the street calms down after the tanks, the Bradleys leave, you see the Mujahideen just swarm out of every building. Like they didn't do any. There was no reason for this at all.
That was a detail. I feel like we never saw them actually hit a single enemy.
Nope. You don't see anyone get hit by a bullet.
Oh, that's true.
You only see people being exploded. There is one guy.
Elliot has a bullet wound in his arm, or is that like fragment from the grenade?
That's from the grenade because he's bleeding when they're the first time they're going to get out of there. He's bleeding already. There is one scene when the second company, they send 2 guys up on the roof to try and like clear the roof.
Yeah.
And they shoot across to the roof of the other house. You kind of see one guy, like they shoot at him and then he ducks down and doesn't come up again. But that couldn't just be that he's ducking down. You never actually see anyone get killed by a bullet.
By a bullet. Only by explosions.
Which was an interesting choice. And I mean, more than anything, you see people just blindly shooting, like laying down like cover fire, because you don't know. First of all, you're shook, you're disoriented, especially from all the explosions, and there are people all around you. So, we didn't watch this in IMAX, but we did watch it in a proper like surround sound system.
Yeah. Hisense.
Hisense. Yeah, whatever that is. It's not Atmos, but it's kind of
something
Atmos.
About the sound. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And there was just non-stop, like, barrages of bullets from every angle. So mostly just see people go, ba 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 ba. It's like, hopefully I'm hitting something or deterring someone from shooting at me.
Yeah.
It
was effective. That's the thing. It
was very effective at showing you, like, the horror. The immediate, not just like, oh my god, so many people dying and this senseless war. We get that from other movies. This was hyper focused on the specific soldiers in this specific moment.
Yeah, how it feels to be right then and there, basically.
Yeah. So
because, like you said, we see it from every other movie. We see the horrors of war. We see the victims and all the dead people. We didn't see dead people here.
No.
We didn't see the people we saw 2 people be wounded, but like not like that. We didn't see the civilians get wounded. We didn't see the empty streets, really. We just saw gunfire and waste of money, really.
Yeah.
Bullets are money. Yeah. They were literally wasted, but I understand why, so...
Yeah, but even though that's what's so effective about the movie, even though we don't have all that, there's no sad music, there's no, like, crying over a dead soldier, like, why?
There's no running out and being revengeful and shooting wildly and hitting, like, all the bad guys.
Yeah.
I loved that there wasn't any of that stuff.
It is still one of the, like, worst... like most horrifying depictions of warfare, because it's so panic-inducing.
Yeah, I literally sat like this half the movie, like.
and when Ray drags Elliot in from the explosion, you're like, he's dead, but he doesn't understand that. Yeah, and he just like for like 15 minutes doesn't move or doesn't breathe, and then he.
I mean, I am assuming because they do check his pulse. I'm assuming they know, but they don't communicate.
Yeah,
it.
and then it's like someone nudges his shoulder or something, and he just goes, "Ooh!" And I thought both you and I are just like, "Oh!"
It was a bit of a jump scare. That one and the first, what did we call it when the plane came down really low?
Oh, the show of force.
Yeah, show of force. That one also kind of scared me.
Yeah, goddamn.
Jesus Christ.
When a fucking
That
I
was
don't
terrifying.
know what model it is, but a fucking attack plane flies like what 50
few
feet
meters
above
from the ground.
Yeah, at like Mach 2, the shaking the
skimming the
entire
roofs.
building. Yeah, Jesus Christ. And they did that 3 times.
Yeah.
Once again, that would be like a cool thing to see in one scene, but in real life you would need to do that several times. So in this one they did it 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, so all this, I would say, like, super effective at telling this specific story. Super effective without any, like, pandering or moralizing or finger-wagging. Super effective at, deterring you from, like, saying, like, hell yeah, what a cool movie. What a cool thing. I want to go out and shoot people. So, anti-war?
Yeah. It also had, I don't know how, really, but they managed to make me care for these people, specifically the first company that we spend most time with.
Yeah.
Despite only giving us, like, details on one of them, and it's, like, 2 details. It's that he's the new guy.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, he seems to be, he just does what everyone tells him. He doesn't really try to do anything really except for what they tell him. If they tell him to stand guard, he's standing at that fucking door, which he does for a while.
It's like, oh, sorry.
I literally cared for all of them. I was like, oh my god, you poor guys.
Yeah, but you see, that's what some people don't like. They cannot. I understand it to some extent that some people just do not, because it was like any war after the Second World War. Every war is an unjust war, but from an American point of view, every war after World War II is an unjust war. There was never a reason for any of them.
No.
If we're gonna be super nitpicky, like they had excuses, they didn't have legitimate reasons.
No.
To start a war, to start the war.
No real point in why they went where they went.
Exactly.
Except for, I guess, money and greed or something, which isn't valid.
No. That being said, shit, I lost my train of thought.
This movie and what people thought of it.
Oh yeah. So I can understand whenever a movie, doesn't actively
like tell you that war is bad?
Yeah. Or condemns, especially then America.
Yeah.
They just think it's not just a bad representation of reality. It is also then all of a sudden it's not just a movie, it's propaganda. Like anytime you do even the slightest of like propping soldiers up or saying that, well, yeah, the war was bad, but this little combat situation that this troop was in, that was an heroic thing where they no, nothing is. They're all criminals. They're all imperialists and scum. You should always just shit on like American soldiers, and I think that is so. First of all, very narrow-minded.
Yes.
Yeah, you know who else thinks in such absolutes that there's only black and white?
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
But then, but then also racists.
Yeah.
I said it. Yeah. If you cannot see nuance in people, regardless of color or creed or whatever,
people.
Yeah, just nuance in people, you're a racist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were there bad soldiers who did bad things? Of course.
Obviously. But there were bad people, bad soldiers who did bad things on all sides of all wars.
Yeah. Just to talk about Star Wars more, there was heroes on both sides.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not the point. But what I'm saying is, but there was also, and you can say that because it was an unjust war, every operation, every mission, whatever you want to call it, every skirmish, none of them were justified or can be called heroic.
No, sure.
But that's what I don't buy. Because that is, first of all, generalizing to the point of being not racist then, but bigoted? I don't know what to call it, because you can't be racist towards soldiers. But you know what I mean? You
can be, yeah, there's a word for it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I can't think of the word, but I know what you mean, yeah.
It's like racism, because like, oh yeah, every soldier is bad.
It's like racism or homophobia. It's
every gay guy is gross. Every black guy is stupid. That's the same thing. Oh, every soldier is a bad person. Like, no, they're not.
No, there are good guys who are soldiers too.
Yeah, exactly.
They have good intentions. Some of them.
The guys who drove the Bradley tanks, who did the Casevac, as they called it, who evacuated the wounded soldiers, like they were. And that's why they gave them a special thanks in the end of the credits. Like, they were unequivocally good people who drove. They drove straight into the line of fire, straight into hell, to pick up these people that they didn't know. Yeah. And to not be able to have the intellectual, like, self-reflection. It's like, yeah, like maybe on a macro scale, yeah, the war was bad, but in this situation, none of these people are like committing crimes. None of these people are like being evil. They did what they were told, and they did it for what they believe was a just act. Yeah, you know.
Exactly. There's a difference between, because in some movies they show you all of like the war crimes, where like, oh, there were people who were raping civilians or killing civilians just because. That's the bad guy, no matter which side you're on.
Yeah.
That's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Soldiers who just go in and mainly protect, which is what they do here. They mainly protected. They didn't shoot anyone until they got shot at.
No, yeah. They were going to, but they didn't.
Sure, technically. But like, they're good guys, so to speak. They didn't do anything bad here.
Yeah. And you don't.
I mean, sure, you might say that taking over someone's home just because it's strategic is a bad thing.
And that's also something.
A bad thing.
That's also something.
Doesn't make them a bad guy.
Yeah, that's also something that people refuse to acknowledge. They say like, oh, we only see it from the soldier's perspective. We never see the victims of the war. Blah 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 blah. First of all, that's the point of this story. It's a story about these soldiers, told by the very soldiers who were in it.
Yeah.
Come on.
This was how they saw what happened.
There are other stories about that if you want that, you know.
Yeah.
There was one movie just a couple of years ago with whatever his name is, whatever, Nightcrawler guy. No, not that. No, whatever. About him going in and actually saving one of those translators because he got, abducted. Whatever. Doesn't matter. The Covenant, I think it was called, or something like that. Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal is his name.
Yeah, I was about to say Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
Which is also kind of funny because he is not like a super nice guy in that movie. He's kind of one of those soldiers like, oh, I don't like this guy. But at least he does the right thing in the end, Whatever, doesn't matter. So there are a bunch of stories like that. There are even movies made by the there are German World War II movies. There are Middle Eastern movies about the terrors of war.
Yeah,
like you don't say like, oh, they don't depict the horrors of being an American soldier because you don't. And I think that is just blatantly proving that you have a bias against people. You only care about the purported victim, And,
Yes,
and yes, they are the victim.
Exactly. We
but
need to get to that part a little bit.
But that
'Cause
doesn't
I
immediately.
understand that.
But that doesn't immediately vilify everyone else
No.
on the other side, and that's
No.
a problem I have with that kind of rhetoric. I'm
Yes,
also
yes, no, I
thinking about it
understand, but-
extra because there's this whole. I don't know if you care. Do you know Hassan Piker?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. He. I mean, we all knew he was a moron from years ago. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a goddamn grifter. I mean, even don't. I don't. That's not part of the discussion.
That's not the discussion.
No.
No.
He recently, though, this all got dragged up again because Ethan Klein, you know, of H3H3
Yeah.
production and now podcast,
They're beefing.
they were beefing, and
And they still are, I think.
yes, ever since
Over
their
the Palestine
podcasts, yeah,
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Specifically.
and yeah, I've been following it a little bit because it's kind of like 2016 all over again. It's like, yes, it's
You like that
almost
stuff.
yeah. I mean, I don't like it anymore, but it's fun to like. It's almost like reliving bad comparison in this discussion, but it's almost like reliving the meme wars a little bit.
I was about to say, you mean the meme wars?
Oh
right?
yeah, because that was when I was terminally online. I was a fucking not a general, but I was at least like a lieutenant in the meme wars.
Sure.
I put that behind me. However,
Get to the point.
yeah, I've been reliving that a little bit because first of all, I haven't watched H3H3 since that time, basically, or at least a few years after that. And having people just cover internet drama about people from that time,
Yeah.
and iDub has been brought into it and everything, and then Hassan, as he always does, puts his fucking foot in his mouth over and over again because he's a moron. He doesn't actually know what he's talking about when push comes to shove. I mean, he can spout rhetoric, but when they did a live debate between Ethan and Hassan, and none of them were particularly
None
good.
of them are very good at, like, actually...
Not really, but Hassan was just awful. He couldn't answer a single question. Anyway,
He has a tendency to deflect.
God, yes. Anyway, so I'm even more riled up about it because he has that very, very, very like narrow mind. Like he cannot sympathize.
Yeah, like the liberal side of it.
Yeah. He like just pure far left, basically.
Yeah.
He cannot and will not sympathize with, the Israeli side. Now,
Yeah.
granted, I would say that Israel are the oppressor
Sure.
in general.
I'm gonna be honest, I can't...
No,
I understand
it's-
nothing about that, if I'm being honest.
It is a much longer discussion, so we're not going to do
Yes.
that.
No.
But where the whole beef started was that he could not even, like, when the January 6th attacks or whatever it was, when Palestinian soldiers Hamas just massacred, like, I don't know how many civilians.
Bunch.
And there were reports
A
of like
bunch.
rapes and stuff, and like
Yeah.
and Ethan, when they were doing their podcast, Ethan of course brought that up because he's Jewish. His wife
Yeah.
is Israeli. He lived in Israel
Yeah.
for like 6 years. And he was like shook up about it, and Hassan he could not sympathize at all. He was
that's the thing.
he was barely hiding his glee, like ooh.
Yeah, I know. I've understood that much, that they are on different sides of it, and they're both kind of just going, my side is the right side, and there's no gray areas between either of them, for either of them.
But that's the thing, though.
I've only seen clips, though, so I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure. Like, I haven't
That's-
seen all of it, so I obviously don't know if they have nuances. But from what you see in these, like, compilations and stuff,
Yeah.
and when you get a clip of Hassan talking about what Ethan has said,
Yeah.
it sounds like they're on, like, opposite ends.
Yeah, which they aren't.
Totally black and white. Which,
Yeah.
no, and it's... That's not fair to anyone who is involved in this situation, and I mean that in, like, on the grounds getting attacked.
Yeah,
because
and
it's not
to
just
come
one
back to the
person,
movie and come back to this discussion.
one people getting attacked. It's everyone who's a
Yeah.
civilian who happens to be in that area getting attacked.
Yeah.
because of fucking what's it called when the bombs that
When there's like several, I think it's a Hellfire
Yeah.
missile.
Yeah, like when that shit happens,
Yeah.
they don't look at who they hit.
No.
They hit an area.
Yeah.
And whoever's in that area, whether you're Palestinian or Israeli, you're done. You're done. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like
But what I'm
they are the victims here.
yeah, what I'm trying to get at is that people cannot detach their political stance and actually, like, even in a super microscopic point of view, like this movie is, it's just about these guys for this short amount of time. They cannot sympathize with them. They cannot.
That's wrong.
And it is so narrow-minded. It is so well, yeah, like I said, it's not racist, but it's very
Is it bigoted? Is that the word?
I think it's bigoted. Yeah, I'm not sure. And also completely misunderstanding the movie, because not only do they like, oh, I don't sympathize with these guys, they also say, like, there was one guy, there was 2 really bad reviews, but at least one of them gave it a 2 out of 5. That's something. The other guy gave it a half.
Bigotry is the word we're looking for. Obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief, opinion, or faction, in particular prejudice against a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular group. So it is bigotry we're looking for. That's the word we're looking for.
Here. Fuck it. I wasn't going to say his name, but I'll say it. Justin Wua. This has 3,353 likes on Letterboxd.
Okay.
Half a star. I won't read the whole thing, it's pretty long, but it starts with a soulless, insidious piece of pseudo-realistic propaganda. And I'm just like,
what?
What are they trying to propagandize here? That war is terrible and you shouldn't join in? Because that's what I got from it. A film that postures as an anti-war statement while reveling in the exact kind of mindless, fetishized destruction that makes war look like an adrenaline-fueled power fantasy rather than the devastating, soul-eroding atrocity that it actually is. This is not
sorry.
Yeah.
Everyone's basically crying from what they were like experiencing.
Yeah.
There's nothing soulless or like heroic about it.
Yeah. There's no adrenaline fueled power fantasy.
There's 2 guys who are overhyped with adrenaline, but that's a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
That's not them being like, yeah, fuck yeah, war, dude. No. They're just trying to get through this shit.
Yeah.
They're trying to survive. That's it.
It also continues like this. It's laughable that this claims to be a brutally honest portrayal of the horrors of war. No, it isn't. Doesn't say that. Yet it is so utterly obsessed with aestheticizing that horror that it ultimately becomes complicit in the very glorification it pretends to reject. First of all, I'm pretty sure he never says that it is anti-war. It is.
No, it's a story about what happens at war.
Yeah, it's an objective look at warfare. Once again,
yes,
it is not about the horrors of war. If anything, it's about the horrors of warfare. Very, very, very different. And aestheticizing, like, is she talking about the fact that they stop using sound? Like, any aesthetic choice in this was only to increase panic and increase the feeling of reality, like
like understanding how they were
experiencing it.
Yeah.
Like your ears ringing because you were standing in the middle of an explosion, so you can't hear anything. All you hear are the bass notes, because that's what happens when you lose hearing.
Which is also utilized in so many other movies and never accused of being an aesthetic.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan did it first, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, we've had it in like fucking Mission Impossible, in John Wick, in Fast and Furious, even, I think.
Maybe, I don't remember.
Whenever there's like a shot going past someone's ear, they muffle the sounds for the audience.
Or in the 8th movie when Vin attacks them in the secret hideout, and he throws out those concussion pucks or whatever they are. Yeah. Anyway,
that's something you do in movies to just make the audience understand that shit, they can't hear anything.
Yeah.
So now you can't.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
And in fact, calling it how it has. I mean, I'm sure there is someone, but in general, I do not believe that people think wow, what a cool thing. I want to go become a soldier now. This movie made me want to join up, or whatever.
If anyone saw Elliot and Sam's legs be blown to shreds, and thought, yeah, I want to experience that, then you're dumb.
Or just watching everyone like not understanding where they are. They're like holding back tears. They
Yeah.
Everyone is, well, you don't
literally
say
panicking.
Yeah, you don't say shell shocked, but basically shell shocked. Yeah, there is no glorification here. Does he mean?
No.
Does he think that it's glorifying it because it's very realistic and almost looks like a video game sometime when they are very like ho ho ho, and they use all the lingo, all the soldier lingo, like bravo Mike, 3 minutes, whoa, 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 whoa.
But that's just what they do. That's realistic.
Yeah.
That's not glorifying anything.
Exactly. And that's...
that person should watch the movie again, specifically the credits. Look at the dude who comes rolling up in the fucking wheelchair and say that to him. Say that he glorified this.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the dude doesn't have his legs anymore, he would punch him out.
Yeah.
Because that is not glorifying. This movie is not glorifying anything.
No.
It's celebrating a little bit these heroes that survived this.
Yeah, that saved their friends.
Yeah.
Because
they even, like, as they roll out, they're dead silent.
Yeah.
Because they are like, we're out of this, finally, but what the fuck was this?
Yeah.
They're destroyed, probably.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm assuming, why some of them didn't want their faces in the pictures in the end.
Yes, and I saw someone mention that as well. Like, oh, obviously they had to blur out the faces of war criminals.
No.
You know what? That might be that some of them committed some kind of crime later, and that's why they don't want to show their face. But I think for the most part, they're civilian. They might not want their face out there because there are people like that who's like, you fucking child killer, or whatever. Yeah. And also, some of them who still looked like they were like, they might not be soldiers anymore, but they usually, instead of retiring, you work for like private companies. Yes. So they might be doing, like the BlackRock security stuff, and they don't want to show their faces. Probably most of them are because of that, or they just don't want to show their face.
Yeah, it's privacy reasons, most likely.
For the same reason they didn't show the faces of the civilians.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, why would you... They just wanted to be like... So there is a real person, which is why they had the two pictures. They had the real person and they had the actor. They just wanted to point out that there are real people behind all of these stories.
Yeah.
Even if we don't get to see the faces, we know that there are real people. And they give us more than enough to show us that this is based on experience and memories. Someone had to go through this shit.
Yeah. And also... kind of going back to what we talked about before, to say that this doesn't show like the aftermath, I think is we don't really see a lot of it. There's no big dramatic scene where the one of the civilians gets shot and their children the children are like, no, my daddy was shot. There's nothing like that, because first of all, that didn't happen. The civilians survived.
Yeah.
Because the soldiers did their job. They kept them safe. Yeah.
They literally hovered over them for explosions.
Yeah, they did take over their house and smash a wall, but, Hey,
honestly...
Once again, we're not saying that everything is good here. It's just what happened.
No, that's war. I'm sorry.
But then also, I think the ending does a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to symbolism, because as soon as the tanks leave, everything goes quiet, and you see almost in like a comedy shot, you see the dad or whatever, the male guy from one of the families in the house.
Yeah.
He calls the woman's sister, so maybe they're siblings, whatever. He walks out and he just looks, because the whole like there's holes everywhere. The top floor is completely destroyed from the tanks.
Yeah.
And there's like a thick layer of like smoke and dust in there, and you see him like stick his head out and he just goes like, what the hell, man? And the camera just whip. It was almost like, it's a little, in a weird way, kind of funny. He's just like, what the hell? But that also shows
exactly what happens.
They do show the aftermath. They just leave, and now this family's left to pick up the pieces. The family lived upstairs doesn't have a home anymore.
Yeah.
And the same thing then when they cut to the streets outside. We mentioned it. As soon as the tanks leave, mujahideen just like come out of the like they didn't accomplish anything.
No, exactly. This was a moment in time that was very unnecessary.
It was
no one died.
Yeah,
no one was victorious.
Well,
all they
Elliot
did
died.
was that's true. But he died later. As far
Oh
as I
no,
understand.
did he? Because Elliot
Except
was
for Elliot. So
yeah, but Elliot was the guy in the wheelchair.
was he?
Yeah, because he was
Maybe
the
he
one.
died after the shootings. Then
Maybe either way. It shows that this mission, or whatever we're gonna call it, this operation, much like most missions, probably not every, but many missions, and the war in general, is pointless.
Yeah.
It's not. I do not see the glorification anywhere.
There is a trivia here. Where did it go? Here, Warfare is a love letter from director Ray Mendoza to Elliot Miller, who, after the traumatic events of the Ramadi operation, doesn't remember what happened to him.
Oh my god!
So he whoosh,
Jesus.
his mind just went.
He just.
That's why
I don't have any legs. Jesus.
Yeah, basically.
Jesus.
Which
It's even more horrifying, almost.
What's his name? Costas?
Cosmo Jarvis.
Cosmo Jarvis. I think he portrayed the like absolute terror and like loss of his legs. That whole thing, fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Him and Joseph Quinn specifically, those two had to like actually act out the whole like this hurts. I am losing everything. My fucking god, it tore at my heart when they screamed.
Yeah, Joseph Quinn.
I was like, make him stop.
Just
Please
doesn't
make him
stop screaming because it keeps hurting. But it's one of those. It's one of those things where, it's that thing. I've talked about it before, where even if you have an actor who isn't very vain or always needs to be beautiful or whatever, but every actor has that. They always want to act, even want to act sad, want to act angry, want to act like you're hurting. But then there are a couple of performances. The last one I can remember is Alexander Skarsgård as Amleth in The Northman. In the Berserker transformation scene, he just screams in pure rage. It. Yeah, it is. There's no acting anymore. It's just And it was the same thing here. Like, there was no like trying to make it cinematic. He was just screaming until his fucking lungs popped because it hurt so much. Yeah, which in turn makes it very, very good acting. So.
Yes.
But it was just constant, and his voice kept breaking, and he couldn't breathe, and it was just terrifying. Anyway.
Oh my god, my eyes are like tearing up.
Yeah, I've heard in your voice for a while now. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That is also like, Jesus fucking Christ. Why would anyone call that glorifying this?
Yeah. How can you be so cold that even when someone is put through that kind of trauma, you can't even sympathize a little bit?
That's just
that is inhuman.
That is evil.
Thank you.
That's a bad person. Yeah. That's a bad guy.
Yeah.
That's the villain here.
Yeah, to not be able to just like see a human, even if it's a bad person in this situation, and they aren't bad people. That's the thing. They're not even bad people
in this situation.
Yeah,
as far as we know, not ever. But like
exactly.
In this specific scenario, they don't actually do anything that I would deem a bad action. Yeah. They are following orders without hurting civilians.
And that's why I wrote in my little. I rarely write real reviews on Letterboxd, and I didn't this time either. But I wrote, blah 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 blah, and I ended it with, it is definitely a movie that say much more about the audience and their opinions than it does the characters in the movie. Because that's the whole thing. because, like we said, we don't really know anything about these characters other than they got shell-shocked or they got traumatized.
Yeah.
That's it, basically.
And Tommy's the new guy.
Yeah, it's very much a plot-driven movie, but in a way character-driven. But, yeah, it says so much about you as a person when you cannot... You don't have to, like, say, oh my god, it's a masterpiece, but you cannot even sympathize with these people.
With the characters?
Yeah. That is
like,
so strange to me.
Even if you want to like take it even a little bit further, you can say you don't have to sympathize with these characters in the movie specifically, but you should be able to sympathize with the people who this story is based on.
Yeah.
Because they're the actual people who went through this shit.
Yeah.
Sure, these guys that you watch on screen are just actors, fuck's sake. But they are based on real humans, and they are real humans who went through this trauma.
That's any movie based on a true story. Yeah.
You
sympathize with the
just like
characters.
Go further.
Yeah.
Think of the actual people here.
Yeah. But no, they can't.
Kudos to fucking Alex Garland for making yet another movie that is just heartbreaking and in a good way, I guess, sort of polarizing, because it's
it weeds out the wackos.
Yeah, makes people think, hopefully, and it opens up for the opportunity to rethink your
re-educate those who do not understand. No, no. That's you don't say we just
rethink your morals and shit.
We'll help you. We'll just put you in a camp where you learn to concentrate. No, I'm kidding.
That's not what I meant.
I'm kidding.
Christ's sake.
Also, that was just they weren't concentration camps. They were death camps. That was just what they called them. Like, no.
Dumb name.
We're just helping them to rethink their Judaism. Like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're just killing them. Anyway, speaking of that, there was
my God.
at a point when they're getting ready to leave the first time. Yeah, I just in my head was like, man, this movie is it's not super engaging cinematically, but I am engaged in the experience. Similar to what was it called? The Zone? The
Zone of Interest?
Zone of Interest, yeah. That didn't work at all for me as a movie, but I appreciated the idea behind the experiment, because it is a very experimental movie.
Yeah,
this one definitely leans more to
stuff,
more mainstream cinematicness, but at some points it's just like, these are just guys saying things I don't understand, because I don't know all the lingo.
The lingo.
I'm just like, what? I get that you're leaving.
What's three mics?
What are you talking about? I was like, it's kind of like the Zone of Interest, but I do like this more.
This is a little bit more engaging.
Yes.
Yeah. It is, however, like we said before, it is a terrifying movie to watch. I don't want to use the word horrible or
horrifying.
It's horrifying, I guess.
Yeah, it's not horrible, it's horrifying.
No, it's
horrible.
It makes you
bad.
Feel bad.
Yeah.
It's not a bad movie, it makes you feel bad. And it is a bit of an acquired taste. There are definitely people who cannot stomach this.
No.
Not for the subject, but for what actually happens on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the violence, the blood and gore,
the overstimulation.
Yeah, that too. I mean, I did have issues with it at some points. Like, this is too much. I would literally just sit down in a corner and cry if I was in that situation.
Yeah.
Probably like die from just horror. My heart would stop. Oh my God.
Yeah. There's actually a review that says that. Plays more like a horror movie than an action. Seeing this in IMAX was insanely visceral plus jarring. Alex Garland rocked my shit again, and I respect him for casting only internet boyfriends in this. Definitely made me more invested.
Have you seen any of the promotional interviews and stuff?
No, because I'm so tired of this fetishizing of young actors.
No, but
young twinkie actors. Like, stop it! It's weird.
Twinkie? What the fuck? No.
They call them twinks here in some review.
Why?
Because they're
All of these dudes are like the most masculine dudes you could find.
they're not super buff. They're more slender, you know. I wouldn't call what's his name? Fuck.
The only one I would call
Will
slender
Poulter
here.
or Joseph Quinn.
Okay,
Like,
you need to look at him again then, because Will Poulter is buff.
yeah, but he's not big. He's svelte. He's cut. He's not buff.
No, he's
All right, whatever.
his shoulders are broad
But I mean,
and shit.
they're-
The only one
they're
I
young.
think is like
they're young-ish.
kind of-
You know, they're very good looking. They're not twinks as
They're
in
pretty
the,
faces.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
They're twinky. They're not actual twinks.
The only one who doesn't really fit in is Cosmo Jarvis, because he's like the old grumpy dude.
Cosmo Jarvis and Michael Gandolfini, who is the guy.
No, but he's funny at least, so he jokes around with the other dudes.
Okay, but not in the movie.
Cosmo's just sitting there in the interviews going like, what am I doing with these like 30-year-olds? What the fuck is this?
Is he younger?
I think he's older. He looks
he's like
older.
me. He's born
right.
in '89.
And I mean, I think some of them like
It's the guy from Shogun. Okay, that's why I recognize him.
yeah, the Faro Wunatai.
I've never seen him.
He's
before.
born in 2001, so he's
Jeez.
24 years old. I think he's the youngest.
Probably, yeah.
No, wait, Kit might be the youngest.
Either way,
How old is he? Kit Connor.
Either way.
Is
yeah, but
2004.
But-
Dude's 21.
But all these people are the ones, you know, Will Poulter, Joseph Quinn, Finn Bennett, I guess maybe Michael Gandolfini then, I don't know. Noah Centineo, maybe Kit Connor, because I recognize him.
Kit Connor.
Yeah, those are the ones that when they're in the movie, it's always the reviews are always ooh,
Jesus.
oh, step on my throat, Noah Centineo. You know those weird,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
weird,
I know what you mean.
like grossly like sexual, but in a joking
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
how to
'cause-
say it. Yeah, you
I
know
know what you
those.
mean.
Yeah. Oh, dominate me, Will Poulter.
Stop it.
Yeah, but
Stop
that, you
it.
know,
I know
yeah,
what you mean.
we've talked about this before. I hate those.
There is some of that with some of these actors, yes, because they started out as like Netflix heartthrobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Noah Centineo, Kit Connor, what was the other commander dude?
Melton.
Charles Melton.
Yeah. Which I've
Joseph Quinn and DeFaro Wunatai specifically
no.
were very much the pretty faces, the heartthrobs of like TV shows or movies. They played like the high school sweetheart dude,
Exactly.
stuff like that. Will Poulter was not really the hot guy at first, but he became the hot guy when he grew up a little bit and buffed up a little bit.
For me, he's always going to be the weird neighbor kid from Where the Johnsons, or whatever it's called, Where the Millers,
Yeah.
who gets a spider bite on his
Yes.
nuts.
After that, though, he buffed up and became like a proper actor. I've unfortunately had these interviews pop up on my timeline everywhere, so they made they had a little bond going on. They became really close friends, and they got matching tattoos and shit, some of them. And he was called Daddy for some reason, because he was really no, but like the other guys called him Daddy because he was like the dad of the group.
Okay.
Even though he's not the oldest.
Yeah, but he out of these actors,
He took on his commander role kind of seriously, and even offset he was leading the boys.
you know. But out of these actors, I think he's the one that I appreciate the most, because he's done like real stuff after his.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for me, it's Where the Millers, where I kind of discovered him. But I think for a lot of other people, it was the Maze Runner movies, or at least the first one. No, he's in another one.
Yes. He's in all of them, I think.
Maybe yes, yeah. But then of course he is one of the best characters in The Revenant.
Yeah.
He was in Midsommar. He's the douchiest of the three
friend?
douchebag friends. Yeah.
He was the cousin in one of the later Narnia movies.
Yeah, I didn't see those, but he was.
That was like his first movie role, I think. He's in Son of Rambo.
Yeah. He started as a kid actor, and he was. I think he's one of the like douchey salespeople in Dopesick, the TV show. Was a pretty good show. He was great in it. And then he has a really small role in The Bear, which he's great in. The whole show is great.
Yes.
And then this. Like, he's done some... And he's in Death of a Unicorn, which we will see at some point.
We will see, yes.
Might not make an episode about it. We'll see. Depends on what else is...
but we'll watch it at least.
Anyway. So I really like... He was... Maybe didn't get... I don't know, because everyone gave good performances, but his stuck out because I knew him the most of the actors. I think my favorite character though was Elliot, because he was kind of weird. When he gave Ray that weird look at me, like, what are you? He just like
was squaring up, dude.
And it was never like
Come at me, bro.
never like stop or something to like deflate the tension. He just
break
and just left. It was
he
like,
was
okay,
mean mugging him and left.
yeah. Which kind of came back then when he woke up. They kind of did the same thing, but for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. Anyway.
To me, there's a bunch of these people because I've seen them in other things, and I think I might say that Joseph Quinn did like the best performance, but partially because he let loose and just fucking screamed his head off.
Yeah. Now the ones that I really liked, Will Poulter, Cosmo Jarvis. Michael Gandolfini. Obviously Joseph Quinn as well, but the last half is just him screaming, so I don't know.
Yeah.
At least other people did something, you know.
But that's the funny thing, because like some of these like bigger names that they put on the interviews were, like I said, I didn't see Noah Centineo in this movie. I don't know where he was. But he was in all of the interviews, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Charles Melton was great.
Yeah, but he's like the action. He's the only guy who plays hero, the action hero, which is good for him, honestly, because he's always had shitty roles.
I've only seen him in December. Yeah, where he is.
No, poor guy was in Riverdale's where he had like the stupidest fucking role. He was in Bad Boys for Life. We also had like a stupid fucking role as far as I know. Like he hasn't had great roles. Doesn't mean he's bad. He just hasn't had the opportunity to show off his acting skills properly.
No, that's why I don't have the same opinion, because I've only seen him in 2 movies and he was great in both of them.
Yeah. He's often one of those guys who's like typecast as the pretty boy.
Yeah, which makes sense then from May December.
Yeah.
The scene where he, do you remember when there's a little bit of a crack in the facade towards the end, and he's not really supposed to be at his daughter's graduation, but he stands by the fence a bit behind everything, and he sees her get her the thing, and everyone else like, woohoo! Yes. And he's just so happy, but he's so sad at the same time. So he's crying for both reasons. And you can clearly see that because, it's, oh my God. We did talk about that movie, didn't we?
We did. We put it in like a compilation thing where we talked about a bunch of movies.
God damn, that movie was good. And his performance, everyone, but his performance really stuck out for that reason, and his character. Anyway. Very, very complex, very layered.
But that's what I want to get to with the casting. I found it very interesting. There's a bunch of recognizable names and faces, but they're not played up to be what they usually are, and they're not even sometimes played up to be like the main character at all.
No, because there isn't a main character here.
Because there is no main character in Warfare.
Yeah, exactly. The closest we have is Ray, because he made the movie. But even he isn't really the main character. He's not the first guy we see. He's not the one who like, oh, come on, I'll lead us to victory.
No, exactly.
Yeah. There is no main character.
No. And that was an extra like, I love this about this movie.
No, yeah, I really like this movie.
I don't think I have a single like bad thing to say about it. The actual movie.
No, not at all. Like
the sound design was fucking amazing.
Oh yeah,
it literally triggered my tinnitus.
Yeah.
the acting was phenomenal from every single one involved.
The directing was great.
The directing was fantastic. There were even like some really pretty cinematic shots,
Yeah.
despite this being such a
They wanted it to be super grounded.
sedentary movie,
Yeah.
to be honest.
But
But
then-
they're not moving a lot.
At a couple of moments, you're like, but it would be really cool if we just move the camera.
yeah, they swoop in a little bit.
Yeah,
at one point.
yeah.
God damn it!
When the tanks are blowing up the second floor, and the
Yeah.
tanks are moving to the left, and the camera moves to the right. Oh, such a simple move, but it looks so good.
Yeah. And I mean, the set being such a simple set also adds to the whole, like, I don't know, the atmosphere was phenomenal. Everything just worked.
Yeah.
What little music we had just perfectly fit in and amplified.
There's no music.
Whenever there was barely any music, but there was like a couple of times we heard some sort of something in the background. Maybe I just imagined
No, there's
it.
no music. No music
There's
at all.
no music?
There is
Then I imagined
There is
it.
calling me in the beginning, and then there
Yeah.
is the weird
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
but that was over the credits. There was nothing in the movie.
Then I imagined
Yes.
it because I thought it was perfect there.
There's no music.
See, the sound design was so good, I added my own stuff into it.
Yeah.
I imagined it.
Yeah. So, to wrap this up then, because I think we've passed an hour.
Yeah, we're yes.
We both wholeheartedly recommend it.
Oh God, yes.
And
I mean, I will like give a disclaimer that you need to like be of a certain mental state to be able to watch it. I guess,
sure, it's not.
or
it's not
rather,
too
you
bad,
are not allowed
but,
to. No, but like our dad shouldn't watch.
No.
this.
I mean, that's not-
Mom could.
Yeah.
Not sure. My fiance could.
No, I don't think so. It would be
He would
overstimulated.
probably be a bit disturbed. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just like with Civil War, I really think a lot of people didn't get it.
They didn't
They-
watch the movie.
They weren't able to let go of their own biases and see things from a different perspective, which this movie, just like Civil War, was trying to give you.
Yeah.
Civil War was not about the left versus the right or east versus west. It was about choices we make in war, in situations like
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
the pointlessness of war. That is in both movies.
Yes.
It just proves how pointless war is.
I'd call both of them, instead of just saying it's a movie to watch, it's an experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you're not just watching a movie, you're experiencing something that should make you think.
Yeah.
And I, again, fucking love Alex Garland for making
Oh
both
yeah.
of these movies.
Oh yeah. We discussed him briefly in the last episode, I think, or if it was Patreon.
Yeah.
God damn, the guy doesn't miss. I know some people think he does, but no.
No.
His writing and directing jobs, the ones he's made, Ex Machina up until this,
Yeah.
fucking flawless.
Fucking
Yeah.
flawless. I think when we saw Civil War, there was a thing going online that that was his last movie.
Yeah, he was talking about it.
Thank fucking God it wasn't.
No, but he said that he doesn't want to direct anymore. I think here he just helped Ray Mendoza to direct.
Sure.
But from my understand, he doesn't have anything upcoming. Not when it comes to directing. He'll probably keep writing stuff because he is a writer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think.
But I hope he
directs more. But he seems to be that
At
kind of
least helps
guy
out.
who like no. I've said I won't do it
Well,
anymore.
you know what? Maybe it's fine. Maybe he doesn't have to, because
Yeah.
as long as he keeps like this level of expertise.
He gets out on top.
Yeah.
Like yeah, his filmography is perfect. Leave it.
Yeah.
Don't make come back in 10 years and I'm gonna make a great movie and it's like it's a 5 out of 10.
At least whatever you do, Mr. Alex Garland, do not fucking sell out. And become one of those like directors or writers for hire to make some stupid ass Marvel shit. Just
Yeah,
to,
I mean
you
he
know.
has written video games, so some people probably call him.
No, but that's fine.
Okay.
That's probably because he just likes video games and that storyline specifically.
But he's not involved in like big franchises. No, that's true.
No, and stay out of him, please, for the love of God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you, man? Do you?
He is really one of the more interesting filmmakers right now, I would say.
Yeah, and we will see him more in I think it's like a month or so when we get 28 years later.
Yes, because that's his next thing.
Which we're also very excited about.
Yeah. It says here it's technically in post-production still. Wow. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Anyway, that's gonna have to
wrap
be
this up.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes, I don't know what we're doing for the patron, for the members only.
I'm thinking we try to find another like super realistic war movie.
All I can think of is like Band of Brothers for some reason, but I haven't seen
but that is very. I mean, it is very like grounded and rough, but it's not very. It's very dramatic.
Okay.
We'll see if we can find something like that, or we'll just pick another like war movie that we like, I suppose.
Sure.
We'll see what we do. Oh!
So if you want to find out...
Black Hawk Down. Have you seen Black Hawk Down?
Not sure.
Might do that.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But if you want to find out which one we choose and which one we end up doing and what we think of whatever we choose.
Choose.
Check out the Patreon or the members' videos here on YouTube.
Yes, members here on YouTube, patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. And there specifically you have hundreds and hundreds of exclusive episodes. So check that out.
From past years.
Yeah, and we'll be back next week when we're gonna do Final Destination Bloodlines.
Oh, yes!
And the patron, we already know that the patron's gonna be the older Final Destination.
Yes, all of the Final Destinations that came before Bloodline will be the patron for next time. The next time, you know.
So yeah,
that's it.
Thank you so much for listening and watching. We'll be back next week, like I said. But until then, have a good one. Bye. The Spoiler Cast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It's produced and hosted by Tobias Vedén. Co-host is Rebecca Vedén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén. I also want to give a shout out to all our patrons over on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. CK85, Kristoffer Bylén, Daniel Gaiso, Annika Vedén, Jacob, Mom and Mac, and Laura Kinney.